The ultimate purpose of Antichrist is to obtain the worship of the whole human race. Satan's purpose through him is to be worshipped. That's Satan's ultimate ambition, is to be worshipped. When he fell from heaven, his aim was equality with God. He lost it, but he's never given up the ambition. And there is just one way that he can assert his claim of equality with God. So if he can receive the worship of the whole human race, he's saying, God, you see, I'm still your rival. And I don't think you really understand the operation of Satan amongst humanity unless you realize that his ultimate aim is worship.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. In this clip, we have Derek Prince, who talks about a powerful message about the Antichrist and the symbolic meaning for the beast in Revelation chapter 13 and the ultimate purpose of the Antichrist. So let's take a look. We'll dive in at the back end. I got a few scriptures kind of help tie all this together. Let's check it out.
Now let's go on with the picture of the beast. Verse 3 of Revelation 13, I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. It would seem that there is at least the claim to a resurrection. What would have happened if John Kennedy had been raised from the dead? He would have had the whole of America at his feet in a moment. See, we're right on the threshold of possibilities. Going on, so they, the people of the world, worshiped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who is the dragon? Satan. Yes, we need to confirm that. Turn back to Revelation 12 if you're following in the Bible. Verse 9. Revelation 12, verse 9. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels cast out with him. There you have the most complete identification of Satan in one verse. He's the dragon. He's also the old snake. And he's called the devil, diabolos. You know what the word devil means? It means a slanderer. And he's called Satan. Satan means the adversary. So he's the dragon, the snake, the slanderer or the accuser, and he's the adversary, the one who opposes God and the people and the purposes of God. So when we have the dragon in chapter 13, verse 4, they worship the dragon. Who's that? Satan. And they worship the beast. So the ultimate purpose of Antichrist is to obtain the worship of the whole human race. And Satan's purpose through him is to be worshipped. That's Satan's ultimate ambition, is to be worshipped. You see, when he fell from heaven, his aim was equality with God. He lost it, but he's never given up the ambition. And there is just one way that he can assert his claim of equality with God. Because there's one thing that is due only to God. What is that? Worship. So if he can receive the worship of the whole human race, he's saying, God, you see, I'm still your rival. And I don't think you really understand the operation of Satan amongst humanity unless you realize that his ultimate aim is worship. And all forms of idolatry, in essence, are different ways in which Satan gets worshipped. But his ultimate will be this supremely clever, gifted, astute, cruel, unscrupulous ruler. Now there's a very interesting contrast between the true Christ and the false Christ. You see, Satan was willing to make a deal with Jesus. If you turn to Luke chapter 4 for a moment, the description of the temptation of Jesus. Verses 5 and following. Luke 4, beginning at verse 5. Then the devil, taking him, Jesus, up on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to him, all that authority I will give you, and their glory. For this has been delivered or betrayed to me, and I give it to whomsoever I wish. Therefore, if you will worship before me, all will be yours. And Jesus said, get behind me. It is written, you shall worship the Lord your God and him only. But Satan said, you can do it. You have the ability. You can get the whole human race to worship you, and I'll give you the power. And then they'll be worshiping me. The true Christ refused the deal. The false Christ will accept it. And he will deliberately yield himself to Satan, become a worshipper of Satan, in order to be empowered by Satan to gain dominion over the whole human race. See the picture?
Okay, wow. What a powerful insight by Derek Prince. As always, he always breaks down the core ambition behind the Antichrist figure. So what stood out to me personally was the emphasis on the desire for worship, mirroring Satan's own fall and his continued rebellion against God. Derek Prince highlighted how the Antichrist acceptance of worship from humanity facilitated by the dragon, which is Satan, stands in stark contrast to Jesus' refusal of Satan's temptation. It really makes you think about the spiritual battle that's been ongoing since the beginning. So just to add a little bit more, context to this, let's take a look at a couple scriptures that I found very interesting to help kind of tie all of this together. First, let's consider 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. It says, "Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come unless the rebellion comes first and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself against every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God." This passage directly speaks to the Antichrist's ultimate goal of self-exaltation and demanding worship, echoing what Derek Prince just pointed out. The idea of him taking a seat in the temple, proclaiming himself to be God, is a chilling amplification of this desire. Another relevant scripture is 1 John chapter 2, verses 18. It says, "Children, it is the last hour. And as you have heard, that Antichrist is coming. So now many Antichrists have come. Therefore, we know that it is the last hour." Guys, this verse reminds me and should remind all of us that the spirit of Antichrist isn't just a future figure, but a present reality in many forms, ultimately opposing Christ. Derek Prince, his explanation of the final Antichrist seeking universal worship, helps us understand the culmination of this Antichrist spirit. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Do these additional scriptures shed more light on Derek Prince's explanation? Because it does for me. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and God bless.